Before I start, I'd like to give all praise and glory and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rikakwadash, double honor to the apostles, elders, great minister who rule well and teach well, and bishops. Let me say it again. Double honor to the apostles, elders, and bishops, a great millstone who rule well and teach well. Shalom to 144,000 men that's pushing and believing this word in all true sincerity and sacrificing their lives and wills to do so. Shalom to men, women, and children that's tuning in and listening. And shalom to his Eli foreign scattered abroad on all four corners of the earth. The Heavenly Father name is Yahweh. His only begotten Son name is Yahweh Shai. And Lord, one this video is edifying, quick, and straight to the point. This video right here, it will be entitled a lot of these leaders aren't what they seem to be. And recently Al-Azhar have defected from being an Israel, but being a Hebrew Israelite. Now, that means you can't. Now, we know that by blood you're a Hebrew Israelite, but if you're in this truth, you ultimately wasn't in this truth if you leave the truth. That's all that was. That all was a gimmick. And he was one of the leaders of Sakari or whatnot. And ever since, we all know that he got exposed for the things he done. Now the Lord brought that out for a reason. But ultimately, everybody that was learning from him and whatnot, he left them. He left his flock. He left his men under him. If you're the leader of a group, you have to lead by example, and on top of that, you have to lead them the right way. And the Lord's making it known that these leaders aren't what they seem to be. He bank robbed y'all. He got off on y'all, as Jake say. He only was there for the money. He wasn't there because he genuinely cared. And you notice a few months ago when he was crying, talk about some, you gonna get locked up, I care about y'all and all this. Now a few months later he's saying I'm defected for being a Hebrew Israelite. So that means everybody you taught, they gonna be scattered. But the Lord has it that way because that is not a true leader. So I'm going to get this John chapter 10 real quick, and I ain't going to make this too long. And this ain't just about Al-Azhar, this is about all the so-called leaders that aren't doing the proper thing. A lot of these leaders ain't doing the proper thing. They're not true leaders. They're hirelings. They only there for the benefits. Now, being a leader, being in a leadership position, as brothers say, it's obviously not easy, but you have to lead by example. You have to be everything under you, and everything under you. Let me say it like this: if you're a leader, the men under you, if you make one bad choice, everybody's fucked, including yourself. And a lot of these leaders, they genuinely don't care for the state of their people. They only trying to get money out of you and use you for their own benefit. But anyway, this is John chapter 10 and verse 11. I am the good shepherd. The good shepherd giveth his life for the sheep, and that's what Yahweh Shai did. He quite literally gave his life a propitiation for the nation of Israel, but primarily the elect. That's the good shepherd. Yahweh Shai went on a cross. He quite literally went on that cross to be crucified, to be a propitiation for the nation of Israel, to redeem us. That is one of his titles, the Redeemer. And ultimately, that's the greatest example we have of being a good shepherd. A lot of these shepherds do not care for their flock. Whose own the sheep or not, seeth the wolf coming and leaveth the sheep and fleeth. The wolf catcheth them and scattereth the sheep. The hireling fleeth because he is an hireling and careth not for the sheep. And a hireling is somebody that's hired. They're only there to be paid. They're not there because they genuinely will sacrifice and care. I ain't gonna go too deep into it, but we already have multiple examples of his own in video that showing and the things he said that shows and gives the spirit that he's a hireling. He's not a true shepherd. He's not a true leader. And we're coming to find this out now. A lot of these leaders ain't what they cracked up to be. A lot of these leaders ain't really led by Yahweh Bashim Yahshai, you know? And we starting to see that even more and more on a daily basis, a weekly basis, monthly basis. So from there, I'm about to grab Romans chapter 12. And also another statement he said was he was the same nigga since he was born. He was the same nigga since he was born, and he basically been in the streets since he was 9. Now, in this truth, you can't do that. You can't be living in the world and in the truth. You know, you can't sit up here and be 1 foot in the world, 1 foot out the world. You either going to be all in or all out. And the Lord said that. The Lord, the Lord will rather have you hot or cold, not lukewarm. You know, and a lot of these individuals are lukewarm. They don't care for the flock. They don't care about what they've been taught, or they don't care about who's under them. Sincere people that's under them. Now, granted, a lot of them followers aren't sincere. They're sheep, you know, or zombies, not sheep. They're zombies that follow these leaders. You know, now that's what they get. Because now, granted, you know, after a while of the things you see that the men that's under you, if they're not questioning certain, like, okay, for example, if every time you post a video, you need every time you post makes a break, every time a breakdown is presented, you gotta pay for it. Why it gotta be paid for it? In Yahweh Shai freely have you received, freely give. You know, things like that. You know, all it's podcast culture. These things have corrupted these individuals, and not just corrupted, but they've been corrupt from the jump. You know, a lot of these leaders came up under our elders and apostles of GMS, Great Millstone. They stand back from One West, and we're seeing that those men that did their own thing and trying to come up their own way, they aren't true leaders. But anyway, this is Romans chapter 12 and verse 1. I beseech you, therefore, brethren, by the mercies of Yahweh, that ye present your bodies a living sacrifice, holy, acceptable unto Yahweh, by Shemel Shai, which is your reasonable service. Your reasonable service isn't trying to manipulate and con your members into giving you money for your own livelihood. Your reasonable service isn't to be a nigga, isn't to be a worldly individual. And the truth, you have to shed that off. That's one of when you come into the truth, when the first things you come into the truth, from my own experience as well, I'm speaking from my own experience, you have to shed things of the world off. That's part of the, you know, now granted, we're going to catch our hell, but especially when you first come in, that process of shedding things off in the world. And even after that first time you come in, you constantly shedding things off in the world, because why? We have to unlearn everything that we was taught in the world. And Al-Azhar clearly didn't do that. He clearly kept things in the world. He clearly kept things that were in the world. He brought it into the truth and tried to do his own thing. He's basically a black pastor, a black Hebrew Israelite, Christian Israelite pastor. A lot of these groups are like that. They're trying to twist and mix up the scriptures and bring worldly things into the truth, and it clearly ain't working. And not just not working, it's clearly not doctrine. It's clearly not something that you should be even attempting or thinking to do. The world, the wisdom of this world is foolishness with the Lord Yahweh Hashem Yahshai, and not just the wisdom, but the things you learn. The way the time is even off. The clothing's off. The moral and structural decay. Women, the way life is, the whole setup in life is completely off in this place. So why would you? The world ain't patterned after righteousness. It's patterned after wickedness, because the rules of this world, which are Esau, Edom, the elite, the Amalekites, small hats, are the ones that running things and making laws. So why would you wanna? Why would you do something like that? It don't make sense. It wouldn't. It don't make sense to a righteous man, you know. But anyway, verse 2: Be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, that ye may prove what is what is that good and acceptable and perfect with Yahweh B'Shem Al-Shai. And yeah, that's something that you're supposed to be doing. Little leaven leaveneth the whole up. Now that's talking about things, the breakdowns, but that also goes with things you're ingesting, things that you're dealing with. If your spirit off by a little bit, it messes the whole thing up. It messes you up as a person, because why? In this truth, if you off on one thing, you off on the whole thing. You can't have you can't be, like, for an example, if you tell a little lie or a half lie, half truth, is still wickedness, because you can't just tell a lie and then mix it with the truth. No, it has to be 100% pure. 100% pure. But anyway, man, you start to see who these individuals are. These leaders are really truly sacrificing and leading and governing. You know, now in this truth, you learn how to minister unto brothers and minister the way you should be. You shouldn't be trying to steal a congregation's money. Talk about not just, but ultimately look, in this truth, you're not gonna live luxury. We're not trying to live luxury. We're not trying to be somebody we're not. We're not trying to chase after things of the flesh, because all this shit gonna be burnt up anyway. Your car, your house, your money, all is gonna be burnt up anyway. But you can see that what Alazar has been doing is ultimately been folly. He didn't care for y'all. That was a part of Sakari. He only cared for you to get money out of you. And you see it. A lot of these leaders just want money out of you. This is Matthew chapter 24 and verse, where is that at? Where is it? Oh, wait. Oh, no, it's 6. I don't know why I'm thinking of 24. So, like, this is Matthew chapter 6 and verse 22. The light of the body is the eye. If therefore thine eye be single, thy whole body shall be full of light. But if thine eye be evil, the whole body shall be full of darkness. If therefore the light that is in thee be darkness, how great is that darkness? And yeah, keep your eyes single. Keep being focused. Don't be lusting or wanting, or not chasing after the things of this world like money. We're not saying you can't pay your bills. You're not saying you can't work. If you offer some overtime and it goes, it works with the schedule, I mean, you have the choice of taking it. I mean, brother's not saying you can't take it, but you have to know when to cut that off and ultimately fit. You have to know when to cut that off, especially when it comes to this truth. When it comes to this truth, that's all that matters. Verse 24. Now, no man can serve two masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or else he will hold to the one and despise the other. Ye cannot serve Yahweh B'Shem Al-Shai and Mammon. Yeah, that's quite literally simple. You cannot serve the Lord and be trying to run up your bag. You can't be serving the Lord and trying to be a million, trillion, billionaire in this truth. No. Now, the Lord makes it to where we get our daily bread. And that's in this chapter also. That's all we need. That's all we quite literally need. We're not asking to be social media influencers, content creators making six figures, trying to live a big luxurious house. Because ultimately a lot of these things that, now what comes with money? More influences, more wickedness, And the Lord have it to where what? We just have just enough. We don't have it. We not supposed to be trying to. Now, granted, in this truth, you want to elevate yourself. If you can afford something, you can. If you're trying to do with what you have. Now, I'm not sitting there saying you gotta be trying to get you a Bentley truck or a Hellcat, but I'm saying, little things like that. But ultimately, if you're trying to run your bag up and whatnot, that ain't what you was called for. You're called to do the work of the Lord in season and out of season. Rebuke, reproof, and exhort. Defend the gospel. That's what we're called into the truth for. That's what the men are called into this truth for. Not to be trying to mix shit in, mix worldly things into this truth. That's not what we are supposed to be doing. So from there, let me see. I get this last precept and then I'm going to close. This is Matthew chapter 12 and verse 45. Let me get there real quick. This is Matthew chapter 12, verse 45. Then goeth, this is red letter, which is Yahweh speaking. Then goeth he and taketh himself with himself 7 spirits more wicked than himself, and they enter and dwell there. And the last state of a man is worse than the first. Even so, it shall be also unto this wicked generation. So that's saying ultimately, the spirits the things that you encounter, not encounter. So the things that the spirit that you had coming into the truth, that demon you fought off, 7 more will take its place. Because why? You didn't fend that demon off. It came back with reinforcements. That demon was not vanquished and dealt with. So now you got 7 more spirits coming back to that claim to deal with you, and they're worse than the first. A lot of individuals that fall out, they don't get that demon up off of them. That demon come back stronger and worse. And his demon was money and sexual lewdness. And you see it, and many other things. But you notice how these leaders act. A lot of these leaders doing things for money, doing things for power, doing things for glory, vainglory. And, that's things of the world. And in this truth, you're supposed to put those things off. This truth ain't about one individual, one apostle, one brother. This truth is about Yahweh Shai. Yahweh and Yahweh Shai. It's just that simple. And a lot of these individuals have problems with the doctrine. So therefore they get kicked out, they get spewed out, and the Lord cast them away. And ultimately the biggest judgment is what? They're going to be destroyed. And it's just that simple. But Lord, when this video is edifying, before I close, I'd like to give my praise to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakakwadash. Lord, when this video is edifying, and on to the next one. Shalom.